Hi, so today is Thursday, September 13th, 2018. So for some of you who have been complaining that sorry, I fixed my charger. For some of you who have been complaining or upset about being lonely, not being in a relationship, currently that can be difficult. It can be very challenging, especially when you are used to being with someone. Some of you have just literally grown up with your family, always having your family around, and then on top of that, you started dating, maybe high school or the end of high school. You quickly finished college or classes or whatever, got your either certificate, degree, or just started working, found your partner, quickly got engaged, and maybe got married, or was at least always dating someone. Um, Being lonely, it doesn't have to be as bad as it sounds. And it doesn't mean permanent loneliness. It doesn't mean you will never be with somebody. If you have broken up from a partner, a boyfriend, husband, wife, then or girlfriend, then you are definitely feeling the intensity or the actual life signal message that is sent to you, which from your body, it's a signal that says, I'm searching for something, I'm looking for something. When you're feeling the actual loneliness, it's because you are looking or searching for something. Even the most charismatic people, um, yourself, other people that even celebrities, experience some sort of days where they are feeling lost or lonely or feeling isolated from everybody else. This is normal, and it happens to, the people who have so many people around them sometimes. Sometimes you can be around a whole crowd of people and still feel isolated, still feel lost, still feel lonely. So, be aware of that. But, it's good to know that we really aren't alone, okay? Alone is just a feeling. That is a description of a feeling. The question still remains, what should we do when we feel lost or lonely? Who do we turn to? What do we say? How do we tell others how we're feeling? Number one, you need to recognize and accept what it is exactly that you're feeling. What's going on right now currently? At best, you can always let your friends know, or because a lot of times you have been accustomed to being in contact with people in general, everywhere, whether it's friends, family, coworkers, whatever. But normally you are always, in fact, involved with someone, somehow, somewhere. Even if you're in your car yourself and you go to the gas station to get gas, now you're around other people, or the grocery store or whatever. But being alone sometimes, getting comfortable in your own skin, will allow you and give you the opportunity, the chance, the confidence, and the sense of self-reliance, which is really important to have. That definitely boosts up your self-esteem as well. We cheat ourselves out of the opportunity sometimes to become self-reliant. So, our loneliness also can be used, like I said, as a self-guide. It's a self-directing guide. No doubt about it. It helps, it sends you a message, and when you're in the midst of solitude, and you're actually, end up doing some soul searching. That's what comes from being alone. When you're in the midst of solitude, you soul search and you figure things out. When you realize that, your loneliness will help you to face the truth in a matter. It will finally bring you to a certain point in your life, in a situation, in a relationship, to face reality of what should or shouldn't be there. If you're dating somebody and you're with a person and you're still feeling alone, or they're not talking much, they don't, socialize with you much, they don't share things with you, then you're feeling alone in that relationship. It's feeling one-sided. That's part of the work that you and your partner have to put in to keep that relationship going. And if they're not putting in the work, that's pretty much what I mean when I tell you during your readings, if somebody's not willing to put in the work. That's part of it. It's not just a physical part. Just because somebody can lay down in bed with you does not make them a partner. Not for a relationship. Different kind of partner, but not a relationship. And not only that, but a lot of you, when you're alone are isolated, you feel like you may have lost control. You feel like you're not able to handle things or deal with things. You know, but typically, when we see ourselves as being that way, being lost or alone or lonely, feeling lonely, that gives us an excuse, right? We use it as an excuse. Everything that we come into view or contact with, it gives us the negative light that we want to use and share on people. It's putting us in playing the victim mode. So when we share with people, oh, I'm lonely, oh, I'm so sad, oh, I'm not dating anybody, oh, I'm this, I'm that, that puts you in the victim mode. But the truth of the matter is, you choose the attitude in every situation that you're in. So even though you are alone, you don't necessarily need to feel lonely. No, you guys are much better than that. Embrace the freedom of being alone, the self-reliance, doing things for yourself, taking chances, facing challenges, facing your fears. That's a whole big part of it. A lot of times loneliness comes to circumstances that happened around us or to us. Maybe someone died who we loved. Maybe you lost your parents. Maybe you lost your best friend. Maybe you lost them to addiction. Maybe you lost somebody with a car accident. Maybe you lost them, to heart disease. Maybe you lost them to diabetes. There's many reasons. Maybe somebody just had severe blood loss. But either way, when you lose somebody, yes, that does create loneliness. It really does. But, enjoy the fact that you don't need everyone that you care about to support every decision that you make. Because when it comes down to it, it's about what you want. It's about your choices. It's also about the consequences for each choice that you make, good or bad, okay? But self-pity, don't get caught in that victim mode. Don't do it. Acknowledge who you are. Acknowledge and respect the person that you've become, the person that you are now. You're not the same person who was victimized in that last relationship. You're not the same person, and you're not going to be the same person in the next relationship. You definitely have to look at your own persona and make a decision based on that. Realize that, life is going to change constantly. And it's about to change now. And how we react to that change and respond to that change. Are we going to react to it or respond to it? There's a big difference between those two words. When you react to anything, it's usually half-ass. When you respond to something, whether you're trained for it and you respond, like a first responder, an EMT, or if you're in an argument with your partner and you react, it's going to escalate the problem. It's going to make it 10 times worse. If you think about it, if you listen, sit back and listen, you're going to be able to respond in the manner that you need to resolve that situation. If you react, that situation, more than likely your relationship is going to end real quick. It's okay not to be who you used to be. You are allowed to make changes to yourself. Self-growth, okay? That is part of self-reliance. Keep striving to do the best that you can. Be the best you that you can be. And if anybody else has a problem with it, oh well. But you put 110% in. And that's all that matters. Because no matter whatever the situation is, you can walk away from it with that same percentage. Loneliness and depression kind of go together. So if you're still feeling sad and lonely about a breakup, it's an easy way to reflect about the regrets that you've had in a situation or a relationship. Loneliness is an excuse to reminisce back, tear yourself down, self-sabotage, over the past life events that you've had. Don't allow that to control you, who you are now, because you are sitting here watching this, so therefore you have gotten past that. So leave that in the past where it belongs. A lot of you who try to bring up old relationships or recreate them, leave them where they are. Their work is done. Majority of the time, you've done the work in those relationships, that situation. You've handled it to the best of your ability. You've walked away from it, or they've walked away from you. Time to grow. Time to move on. Move forward. Take the lessons that you learned from that relationship. only the lessons, and bring them with you to the next one, so you don't repeat anything negative that you may have done in the past. Pay attention to what your partner did to you. Make sure you don't copy that and do that in your next relationship. When you take positive steps, you can do that by putting one foot in front of the other and acknowledging every positive step that you take. Pay attention to that. Pat yourself on the back for that, for the good choices that you make, for the decisions that you make that you know are benefiting you and other people. We can celebrate, the struggles that you overcome every single day. That is a reason to celebrate. There is a reason to celebrate every day, and every day is because A, you woke up, and B, you decided to do something different today. Or C, you decided to respond to something instead of react to something. You caught yourself. You paid attention. Okay, things happen in our life for a reason, whether it's losing a loved one, maybe to death or illness, losing a partner, maybe to a third-party situation, maybe because they just said that they don't like you anymore. Maybe you left them because you said they're a bitch. Maybe you left her because she was nagging the shit out of you. Maybe you left him because he's up your ass all the time. He won't go do anything else. But things happen. Circumstances that we encounter in our life is designed to teach us. It is so much designed to teach us the lessons, and in turn pass those lessons that we've learned to others. Maybe it's your children, maybe it's your friends, but your experiences can help someone else. That's why in most jobs, when they want to hire someone with experience, because what you've learned and been through on the job can help that company accomplish what they need to accomplish and not have to start all over again and train somebody. So same kind of thing. Sometimes we're fortunate enough to figure out the lessons to be learned in a relationship. Sometimes. Or in life in general. Other times we just simply need to have faith that the lessons wasn't meant directly for us to learn or to learn from, but how we handled it. We needed to observe how we handled something, and also maybe the way we handled something was observed by someone else. So someone else was supposed to learn the lesson from you. You were setting the prime example for that person. Okay? So sometimes a lesson that you're going through isn't about you at all. You're like, well, I already knew that. But maybe the person paying attention, maybe the person you're involved with needed to step back and take a look at the way you dealt with something. Okay? Maybe you've mastered that already. Maybe you've been through that 100 times. Although painfully, rejection, loneliness, depression, all of that, yes, it can be very painful. But remember, whatever you're going through, it's either teaching you or it's teaching someone else. Remember to write a journal. Remember to record your thoughts, okay, when you're at the height of loneliness. It's really important. And feeling lost, out of sorts, rejected, not accepted. You'll be amazed later on, weeks, months down the road, when you reflect back at how you viewed things at that time. And then look at where you are now and how far you've come. So if you start journaling today, if you start writing today, all your thoughts, all your feelings, all your emotions, and what you did about each situation that you were dealing with. Write about the situations. Write about your breakup. Write about what they said to you. Write about how they treated you at work. Write it. Write it. So that later on you can look back at it when you've gotten yourself up to another level, a better place. It can give you a keen insight on who you are, who you've become, and what made you feel the way you felt at that time. So you'll learn how to avoid certain triggers or problems in the future. Remember, you're not the first person to feel this way, and you won't be the last. We are all alone, and no one else has ever felt this way before. It's quite common. That's how we feel, that we're all alone by ourselves, and there's nobody who feels like I do. Nobody knows the pain and heartache I'm going through. That's not true. There are so many people out there like you, like me, People who had to learn in many different ways, and while we're silently observing others around us who are seemingly fine in every way, it looks like they got everything going for them. It looks like that they wouldn't have a clue what loneliness or sadness was. Maybe they're prettier than us. Maybe they're richer than us. Maybe they've been married a long time and we've been divorced and separated and divorced and separated. When you compare apples to oranges, it just seems kind of crazy, right? But, you can't possibly know the struggles of everyone around you unless they elect to share them with you. We all have known this point of changes, transformation, depression, sadness, loneliness. We all have been there at one point or another. Not all of us choose to share that. So some people, although you may think they're fine, a lot of people can put on a good front. They can put on a good act. You know that. And they'll allow you to believe what they want you to believe. But when you deal with, someone that you trust and you ask them, how they deal with certain feelings, or how do they deal with a certain problem, or how do you deal with a boyfriend who cheated on you, or how do you deal with loneliness and rejection and everything else, what they experienced, what they went through, you might be surprised what you learn. You just might be. So remember to ask for help. Ask your clergy, ask your best friend, ask your neighbor, ask your mother, ask your sister, ask your coworker. Ask someone. If you don't want to do that, look in the books in the library. I am sure you'll find something there. Because being lost and lonely is common to everyone, but typically it will last a relatively short period of time. Typically. Most people will confess that at one time or another, they were in a funk. They were out of sorts. But if it persists longer than a few weeks, then maybe you need to see somebody. Maybe you need a doctor. Maybe you'll need medication. Maybe something in your chemical imbalance is off. When you still have the ability to reason and be rational and rationalize things and consider, doing things to change things, to make things better. You don't want to, poo-poo the problem away and think that it isn't worth any of attention. You think, oh, I'm okay. No, if it's gone months, you're not okay. You need to get help. And don't be ashamed of that. Be proud of getting help and seeking help. You can be ashamed of not getting help, because that's not showing maturity. That's not showing that you're being responsible. Being responsible for yourself, self-care, self-love, is getting the help that you need, regardless, okay? I guess I'll finalize everything with, you can cherish your mental well-being and don't underestimate its worth, okay? Seek professional guidance if you're unable to distinguish between a sense of freedom for yourself and a sense of despair. There's a difference. Again, feeling lonely sometimes or lost, it can also serve as a catalyst for change in our lives. If we acknowledge them and act on them, okay? Act on those feelings that you're having. So, with all that being said, there is, a beautiful, beautiful place that you can use for your meditation. You know where that place is just for you. A special, beautiful place that is just for you. And you know where that's at. And once you find that place and you go there and you meditate, and you follow along with your feelings and with your guides, maybe your spirit guides, maybe the messages, maybe through meditation you receive the messages, the downloads that are needed to help you. Like I said, we all grieve certain things, relationships, problems. But it's not about the grieving that's bad. It's how long are you spending doing that? How long are you staying in that victim mode? Too long is not healthy. A little while, okay, give or take 2, 3 weeks, fine. But you have to start coming out of it. You've got to still grow. It is a lesson. It is the water that's being put on you to help you to get taller and grow. Okay? This information I gathered from reading from a couple different people on Life Hack or on restoring energy, mental strength, things of that nature. I think it was an article written by Catherine M. I think it was Catherine M. I think. But the most important thing is that, you can learn so many different things from reading so many places. But the reason that I wanted to share so much information with you is because I've had so many people contact me about what do I do about being lonely? What do I do to bring my soulmate back? What do I do to find my twin flame? What do I do to help myself? How can I get out of that? How can I get out of this sadness and this loneliness? So, from me to you, and from you, hopefully, to other people, hopefully you'll share what you're able to do with somebody else and help them get to another step, another level. Talk to them about what I just said to you. So I wanted to do this little video so you guys have something to think about. So you guys have something, to get you through your moment. Is it okay to cry? Of course it is. Shedding tears cleanses the soul. Remember I read that in one of my cards, my heaven cards? And it's okay to cleanse your soul. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to grieve. But once you've respectfully given enough time to that, it is also okay to be okay. You're allowed to be happy again. You don't have to self-sabotage or punish yourself for the next 2 years, 3 years, or whatever. Not date, not socialize, not go out. Because it didn't work out with someone. If it didn't work out, it wasn't supposed to. Trust and believe in yourself, okay? Know that God, the universe, your higher power, whoever you believe in, your angels, your spirit guides, your friends, your family, they all love you without judgment. They love you just the way you are. They love your imperfections. They love your scars. They love your tattoos. They love your short hair. They like your long hair. They like you thin. They like you heavy. They like you, whatever way you are. They love you just for who you are. So you can change the outside all you want. You can color your hair. You can lose weight. You can get teeth fixed. You can get your lips plumped up. You can do that. Do whatever you want on the outside. If that's what you want. If that's what makes you feel better. If that's what makes you feel better, do it. But the inside is what needs the work. After heartache, breakups, family losses, loss of a loved one, the inside is what needs the repair. So take the time for self-love. Okay? Read your books on self-esteem. Read the books on how to encourage yourself to love yourself first. You are the most important person in everyone else's life around you. Your life is very important. Because if you can't take care of you, you can't possibly take care of anybody else. And if you don't love you, you can't love anybody else. It will never work. So the first person you need to be in love with is you. So I'm going to title this to Fall in Love with Yourself. It's okay to grieve, but not be the victim.